Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 6 of our F1 2004 Ultimate Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the European Grand Prix back in Azerbaijan, of course. If you missed out on the video that went live a few days ago from Monaco, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Again, I apologise, there haven't been that many videos of this series in recent weeks, but of course now Formula 1 is officially on their summer break. Hopefully we're going to start doing ideally 2, maybe 3 episodes a week of this series for the foreseeable future. But yeah, if you missed Monaco, definitely would recommend going back. Of course, one of my strongest tracks on the F1 game, and we lived up to that expectation last weekend by becoming the first repeat winner of the season. Because of that, we now have a 15-point buffer over Ralf Schumacher, who is now in P2. And if you take a look at Ralf's season so far, he finishes 3rd, then 4th, 3rd, then 4th. He then finished 3rd at Monaco, so we can already know coming into this weekend that he is going to finish 4th here today. Michael Schumacher now behind Fernando Alonso in the World Championship after the Spaniard narrowly missed out on his 2nd victory of the campaign. The German, after 3 second-place finishes in a row, finished 8th and 10th in the last 2 GP, so he has really struggled as well. 1 point behind Alonso, 1 point ahead of Juan Pablo Montoya. When we look at the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari, though, still with a 9-point buffer ahead of Williams. Toyota, we are currently in a pretty safe P3 after Giancarlo Fisichella had a good race out last time as well. But yeah, last season here, you guys gave me some stick saying I was an idiot calling this race the European Grand Prix. This was the European Grand Prix IRL in 2016, and, well, I think it suits it inside the F1 games as well. But, of course, yeah, we've come off the back of a couple of quite high downforce circuits. The next few, with the exception of Hungary, pretty much between now and Japan, are all very low downforce races, so it's going to be a bit of a trial by fire for us. I think this is probably going to expose some of the Toyota weaknesses so far this campaign. Get yourselves subscribed if you're new. We're trying to hit 150k subs on the channel right now. Also, if you want early access to all of these videos, click the join button down below. It costs just £1 a month and is a great way to support us as well with all the work we're doing here. But without further ado then, let's return here to Azerbaijan. Well, to try and combat the slight lack of engine power this Toyota's got, I'm running 1 rear wing around this circuit, the lowest you can possibly go inside this mod, so hopefully that is going to give us a bit of a better fighting chance. It is probably going to make the car a little bit oversteery though around a lot of the rest of the circuit. Like I said, I think the next few races are going to be all about trying to maximise the results we can, as this whole season has been, of course, but I think it is going to be a little bit more of an uphill climb, with the exception of Hungary, which I want to believe we could be quite strong at then. But yeah, obviously McLaren last weekend, they struggled a little bit. Monaco isn't ever usually kind of a great reference point for who's quick and who isn't in the Formula 1 world, but Baku is a circuit that really does test a lot of different aspects of a Formula 1 car there. So DC still yet to win a race this season. Could he be looking strong this weekend? Of course, I don't believe he won a race in 2004, did he, Coulthard, in his last season IRL for McLaren, so could we see him kind of rewrite those wrongs inside this series, as Fisichella looks absolutely rapid at the moment in our other Toyota car. Where is he suddenly finding this pace? Maybe we've gone slightly the wrong way with the setup here, but Giancarlo is flying along as he plunges his way down the hill. Of course, quite interesting just how much Baku has changed in the Formula 1 games as well in recent years, but one big important traction zone then, or right at the end of the lap there, we get a little bit of a wobble through the entry. Will it be Coulthard? Will it be Giancarlo that is going to be on pole position? It's been a fight between those two around the entirety of the lap so far. I think Fisichella, nope, there goes one of the Schumachers. Immediately Ferrari getting back in the fight as we try and keep the steering nice and straight on the run back down towards the line. We're going to end up 10th on the grid here, slowest of your front runners. That is disappointing. Well, there we go. Giancarlo Fisichella, a brilliant lap time. 1.7 seconds quicker than myself. It was only a few races ago we were out qualifying him by that kind of margin. But yeah, really struggled with pace in the car over one lap. Hopefully race pace is going to be a bit quicker for us. Michael Schumacher, though, on the pole. Could he finally claim his first win of the year today?
A warm welcome to all of you watching at home to today's Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and a race that in its short history has already proven no stranger to drama. A fourth-row start is just about as likely to give you a podium as a pole position would. And remember, in 2017 and 2018, both Lance Stroll and then Sergio Perez took surprise podiums here. The Baku city circuit measures roughly 6 kilometers and is made up of 20 corners and 2 DRS zones. The circuit winds around the narrow city, through the old town, and even brushes against the city's medieval walls. However, as beautiful as the setting is, this track is also a ferocious technical challenge, where the smallest of mistakes could lead to catastrophic consequences for all of our drivers. Anthony Davidson is here once again for today's Grand Prix. Let's talk about Mr. Monaco. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
Well, no idea who this Sergio Perez and Lance Stroll that Croft is talking about are, but ready on the grid then, here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, or the European Grand Prix, I should of course be calling it. We're going to need a lot of fuel, extra fuel around this venue. In fact, I'm going to put 5 laps extra in the car so we can really try and burn through it, especially down that front straight. But yeah, this is going to be a tough old race for us as the 5 red lights come on here in Baku. Gonna be lights out. Oh, and away we go there as always, trying to manage the wheel spin. Olivier Panis trying to have a look around the outside in towards turn 1. So, oh, what is JPM doing there? We were down the inside. We were, quite comfortably alongside him. We should have been expecting that. But just tried to cover me off there as well. Immediately, Jarno Trulli trying to have a look for a move behind. We've got yellows out already. Have we already seen a little bit of chaos? Or is it just the kind of typical Constantino running up through the first couple of turns you come to expect around this circuit there? Thought about a move back down the inside of JPM, but figured if he's going to cut me off at turn 1, there is not a chance he won't cut me off down at turn 3 there. Just trying to settle in, take it nice and tidy on this opening lap, but now we'll try and have a dive. Whoa, big bit of contact there as I just didn't quite get the car slowed down exactly where I wanted it, but you know what, I think that's all fair when all is said and done. And I'm sure JPM thinks I'm either an idiot or blind not to see him through those first few turns. Up in towards the castle, though. Will we see any chaos early on? Anthony Davidson almost putting it in the outside wall through the first part there as well. Zolt Baumgartner doesn't get a run off the corner, and we might be able to capitalise against both BARs then. A little bit of a mistake as Zolt there completely turns across me. Must have just not seen me in his blind spot, but we're past Anthony Davidson. And I'm staggered the car has survived that little hit early on in this race. I believe, is it Schumacher still leading the way at the front? I believe he has been able to hang on to that and is trying to stretch an early margin. Well, can we get a run then on Zolt Baumgartner out of the final couple of corners? I'm hoping with a bit of slipstream and this really low rear wing, we're going to stand a bit of a fighting chance there as Michael Schumacher leads the way at the end of lap 1. Will we be close enough to have a bit of a look to the inside? Zolt there actually took me by surprise a little bit. And yeah, immediately will cover me off on the exit of the corner, and that's going to leave us vulnerable again to Anthony Davidson, who kind of backs out and then doesn't. Little bit of contact there with Anthony, as I think we've both been able to keep going again then. But he kind of backed out and then went for it once more. Very odd little moment. And so far, the start of this race can only be described as clumsy, as now 3 wide. Oh, with one of the Sauber cars as well. What on earth is happening early on? Luckily, we'll leave them to fight behind, but that's ridiculous. Well, one thing I always forget around this circuit, of course, back in 2016, when they did their first real race here, just how difficult these final couple of corners were. These cars just do not have the grip to try and navigate that final chicane with great ease there. So, obviously, in modern day Formula 1, easy flat every single time, whether you're in the slipstream with someone or not. But yeah, these things, you've really got to lift that of the throttle and try and manage it there. You can make up a lot of time by being brave and effectively, getting away with it. But yeah, GPM though, just up in front of me already. You can see ahead of Zolt Baumgartner. There's quite a big gap up in front. But we're pulling away from Anthony Davidson. I feel like the race pace of this car actually pretty good here. There's the one rear wing as well, actually really helping us get the power down for the corners as GPM takes a little bit of a wiggle at me. He'll be able to get it slowed down and stopped in towards the next corner. Yes, he will, but we'll try and do the old up and under. To the outside we'll go, make sure we give him some space. And there we go, up and into P8. Well, taking a look then at the pace in this car at the moment, we're actually fairly competitive here. We've been taking a little bit of time out of Ralf Schumacher in that Ferrari over the last couple of laps. No idea what's happened to Anthony Davidson, as he seems to have dropped behind Olivier Panis in this Grand Prix. But just here, how big of a lift we're having to do through those final couple of corners, and how close you've got to get it to the wall on the inside if you want to get the power down off of that final turn. Tucked on behind Zolt Baumgartner, 209 miles an hour as we approach turn 1 again. Can we try and make the move happen this time round on him? A little bit more cool, calm and collected than the first attempt. And we are back up then into 7th. They are still battling in front. There will be opportunity. I tell you what, around a circuit like this, and especially through these final couple of corners, clear air makes such a big difference. Yes, that was rather scary as I started to understeer out towards the wall, but we're reliably going a few tenths of a lap quicker there as Michael Schumacher already into the pit lane then. We have seen him still go for early pit stops this season, but that Ferrari team have been able to make one-stop strategies work. I know that all the Michelin runners will be aiming for a one-stop again, but I'm sure Ferrari will as well, as Michael, he's only going to come out 2 seconds behind me, so it will be interesting to see if he can close up. So we've got Ralf Schumacher then in the other Ferrari into the pit lane as Michael, he's definitely quicker than me down the front straight. You can't compete with Ferrari V10 power, can you, in Formula 1? But around the rest of the lap, we're fairly competitive against him. Now, the team are adamant that, yeah, he is going to the end of the GP, so I don't think we're going to be fighting with the German too much today. But reassuring that the pace is there in the car, just the same as we've got quicker in race pace. Fisichella seems to have got slower, because he is just dropping down the order. There you go. There's a reminder of what Michael Schumacher is capable of behind the wheel of a Formula 1 car.
By around 1 second per lap.
Yep, new fastest lap of the day coming out from the German. I think Kimi Räikkönen had previously just taken it off him. Yeah, Michael, sometimes when he's in the rhythm, there's just not a lot you can do. But I really want to know how Fisichella was so much faster than me in qualifying, because so far in race pace, he's been pretty terrible so far. Had a decent first couple of laps there, kept it clean and tidy at the start, but since then, he's been losing, almost a second a lap to us in this Grand Prix, and hopefully now we're about to be able to put the moves on him. So I'm trying to really nail the line through the final quarter. Fisichella there got a little bit scared, and we will say thank you very much. Give our teammate a rather wide berth at that final corner, but McLaren now second and third. I believe it's Alonso that is leading this Grand Prix. Here comes Fizzy trying to come back at me. Michael Schumacher getting a fantastic double slipstream off the pair of us. But as we get to half distance then, the team want us into the pits now. I think we're going to extend this first stint by a couple more laps. There we go. Räikkönen into the pit lane then. Alonso into the pit lane. Fisichella getting jumped by Michael Schumacher as well. But our teammate's really done us a favour there by holding up the German a little bit more. So who's going to be out still in front? I assume it's still going to be Michael. Yeah, he's still got a bit of a margin over Fernando Alonso. Ralf Schumacher as well. Let's not forget, he's now my biggest title rival, so, we've got to keep an eye on him so far. Been very, very consistent this year. But if Fisichella doesn't hit this lap, then we're in a bit of trouble, because that's why I'm extending this stint a couple of laps extra, because I don't want to screw over our teammate. I'm pretty happy then with the run we've put together through the first half of this Grand Prix, and to be honest, quite surprised that Michael Schumacher still hasn't found a way around me in this GP, but he's going to get free track space once again then, with a 5-second gap over Alonso. He should be safe towards the end of the afternoon, but that Williams does look pretty good here. Make sure we get the car slowed down nice and tidy on pit lane entry, and now we've just got to hope that Fisichella doesn't undercut me, as there we go, Alonso, new fast lap of the day immediately.
Exit now.
So we're still quite a way behind Ralf Schumacher, but yeah, I don't think honestly we're going to have the pace to get back to him by the end. We should be out comfortably ahead though of Giancarlo.
Scheduled pit stops.
And when we have got fresher, softer tyres than Ralf Schumacher, maybe if we really dig deep, we can try and close back in. 7 seconds in 11 laps? Doesn't seem impossible, but doesn't seem easy either. Well, I don't want to speak too soon towards the end of the afternoon, but it really does feel like a lot of those cars up in front are starting to bunch up here. We've already taken 1.3 seconds out of Ralf. Look at that, new fastest lap of the day. So we are flying along late on. And I think Ferrari, where they went to the alternate strategy over a lot of their rivals, maybe Michelin tyres just again hanging on a little bit better here. Yeah, those Schumacher boys, they're going to be under pressure towards the flag. As we start lap 20 then, there seems to be a bit of a lottery going on for Ralf Schumacher in front. If he can nail the run at the final corner, we can't take much out of him.
We need to get to the end of the race on these tyres.
Yep, tyres are not going to be a problem towards the end of the afternoon. But yeah, if Ralf Schumacher absolutely nails that final corner, we take next to nothing out of him. So we've got to hope he keeps making mistakes through there. 6 laps, 5 seconds. I'm starting to run out of hope. I'm also a little bit worried, because it's starting to look very overcast around this venue. There was no rain predicted today, but could we see some right at the end? Well, I can only assume it's Kimi Räikkönen then in the other McLaren car that's beginning to struggle as well. But Ralf Schumacher, I mean, he's in what should be his finishing position of P4 here. As we said, we spoke about that pattern that he has had so far this campaign. But at the moment, yeah, I think it might be cool. I think everybody's struggling, to be honest, towards the end of this race. So I think we could see a big bunch up before the end. Problem is, with 3 laps to go, it's going to require a lot of effort. It's either that or it's lapped cars, which is something I hadn't factored in, and that makes a lot more sense. Well, Timo Glock then going and ruining all my fun late on in the day. I thought we could have been in for a crazy 5 or 6 car finish here. And around the outside of the Jordan we will go through that final corner. Oh, nice and tidy on the throttle. But yeah, the gap now to Coulthard down to just 2 seconds here. Let's see if we take any more time out of him through those final couple of corners. Yeah, you can see how much he's struggling. Will there be an opportunity before the end? We are pushing like crazy. Come on, Justin Wilson there, just finding himself at the wrong place at the wrong time. So we try and put the power down up over the top of the hill. Around the outside we'll go. You can see that gap to Coulthard hasn't come down by very much over the course of the lap, though. We still might have a little bit more lap traffic to deal with, though, before the checkered flag, and it is just a question of where does it fall. Ralf Schumacher now beginning to struggle as well. I think those Bridgestone tyres are looking very second-hand on that Ferrari, but Michael Schumacher, I believe, still leading the way up at the front of the order. Can we take a bit more time at Coulthard as well? Yes, we can. That gap comes down to 1.4 seconds. Oh, we've lost someone late on in the day. 3 retirements from this Grand Prix then, as that one I believe is a Jaguar. Yep, Barrichello, who is going to fall to the wayside then. Oh, 1 lap to go though of the Grand Prix there, and you can see just how aggressively trying to tip the car in to that apex through turn 1. Not quite getting it stopped where I needed it. So we slide down the wall through the exit of turn 2. I've got to be really, really careful though with the fuel around the rest of this lap, because we have got none extra in reserve here. We've just got to try and be brave but sensible with it. Obviously a couple of extra points would be very, very handy, but we've got to think about the bigger picture in the World Championship as well. No point risking it all and potentially losing 8 points, to maybe gain 2 extra here. Just trying to get the car planted, try and get the throttle down off the corner, because I don't know if that's Räikkönen or a lapped car just in front of Ralf Schumacher here. But either way, they are slowing him up quite substantially. Send it through the castle one final time. Happy that I don't have to try and navigate that again. So I'll get the throttle down up over the top of the circuit, and you can see now we are so close to Coulthard. We have been trying to chase him down throughout most of the Grand Prix today, but will there be an opportunity by the end of the afternoon there? A little bit of a slide as we try and get the power down. I don't know what's going to happen though through these final couple of corners. Will Coulthard make an error? We are now down on fuel though as we try and get the power down through these final couple of corners. Can we send it through? Schumacher is going to claim the victory. Coulthard has nailed it. on that final lap, and we're going to have to try and bring it into lean to save some fuel on the run back towards the line. Michael Schumacher finally wins a race this season. We come through for 6th.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
It's never an easy race here in Azerbaijan. There's drama around every corner, but they've come through to take a brilliant win here today. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today and a stunning win for Ferrari.
Well, there we are then. Michael Schumacher, he actually quite dominated that one. When all is said and done, it was Alonso and Raikkonen behind that were really struggling towards the end of the afternoon. But Ferrari finally claimed their first victory of the season. Michael Schumacher, I'm sure he felt that one was a long time coming, but a very good job done by the checkered flag. Alonso in P2 just ahead of Kimi Raikkonen, Ralph just ahead of DC, and then both Toyotas in P6 and P7. As I said, I didn't think this was going to be a track that suited the car very well, but I feel like we did a pretty good race anyway. Juan Pablo Montoya, Zob Baumgartner inside your top 10. Anthony Davidson having a terrible day out, having to make a 2-stopper, so didn't even score any points this weekend. That means Jarno Trulli and Sauber, to Minardi's disappointment, will be your final point scorer. They're narrowly ahead of Jenson Button come the checkered flag. Alexander Wurz finishing on the lead lap as well. Both Jaguars and Olivier Panis retiring from the Grand Prix this weekend. So a lot of questions will be raised down at the Jaguar team as to what went wrong. Championship-wise, though, we've still got a 7-point lead over Michael, an 11-point lead over Ralf Schumacher there, but with Alonso not a million miles away either. I think this championship fight could be really exciting this year. It is myself, both Ferraris, both Williams, both McLarens, both BARs, and then Giancarlo Fisichella now starting to build a little bit of momentum further down the order. Constructors-wise, though, with that result, it means Minardi now are the only team yet to score this year. Sauber now back ahead of Jordan as well, so a very important day for them. We still have a 10-point gap over McLaren, as Ferrari now extend their lead over Williams as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll be back very soon ready for, I believe, the Canadian Grand Prix.